facing federal indictment on charges that were pretty severe, and you're trying to talk about gun laws? Like, what? Who are you talking to? There's so many things wrong with her. And not to say that I'm huge on Trump either. I actually kind of dislike both of them. So, can't really say. What are your feelings on Trump? How do you like Donald Trump?
Donald Trump, he kind of excites me in a way.
Because he has a banging wife.
Well, yeah, he does that, but at the same time, he's a major turnoff. Yeah, I don't know. Just doesn't seem like somebody I want as the president. But I don't know. Given him or Hillary, oh man, how do you decide between those two fuckheads?
Well, and here's what's just pissing me off. Like, they have to be nominated to run for either side. So you need Fireball. Felicia, where are you with the Fireball? It really comes down to the people who nominated them, and this is where our country's at. We had two sides. We had the Republican nomination, the Democratic nomination, and they nominated these fucking ass clowns to be president, and they left all of us fucked because of it. I mean, you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. Racial tensions are extremely high around the country, except in North Dakota. I had, nope, never mind. I had, the best time coming back to North Dakota, and I flew in from Vegas, and I sat down in a restaurant, and I'm like, Black Lives Matter, and not one person even looked at me. And so, but there's no racial tensions up here in North Dakota, at least not that I know of. But I gotta admit, when I was home in California, the front page of, the newspaper was extremely, like, radically Black Lives Matter, and they're talking about the protests, and I'm in a restaurant surrounded by Hispanics and black people, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, should I be nervous? Like, should I be nervous? Is something gonna happen here? And nothing happened. Weird, the way that works, right? There wasn't one problem with anybody across the board, but, like, the media is just trying to incite all this behavior. Is there issues in Southern California right now with racial tensions? More so than usual.
I hear a lot of people talking about it more now. Like, a guy was in the bathroom the other day, this big, huge black dude, and he was talking to somebody about white people and how angry he was. And, and so, you just go to different places, and when you start hearing that shit more and more in places you don't expect to hear it, it's like, oh, okay, I guess tensions are a little higher now, I guess. I don't feel it personally, but, yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's on everybody's plate. We used to do a lot. Mr. Midnight Movie and I did a ton of great podcasts. They're like 5 years ago now, but and a lot of it was on race. And, we would have some really tense shows. I mean, a lot of yelling and a lot of angry blacks and whites. And now we haven't been doing those shows, but I think if we were doing those now, they'd probably be even better than they were then.
Like, this is the country I feel like I live in now. I can't even go make a joke about it on social media without fearing that something might happen. I don't think I've ever been in that spot in my entire life to where I can't even crack a joke without wondering if someone's going to come after me for it. Is that not fucking sad, or what? I mean, they're horribly racist jokes and all that, but I mean...
I don't like having my thoughts controlled or my speech controlled or any of that stuff. I like just, and I imagine out there in the Dakotas, you kind of have that more... I don't know. I'm curious if there's more speech, censorship or stricter kind of mentality on what's being said.
No, they just got the internet here like 2 years ago, so you're good up here.
Oh, good.
Some places here still don't have the internet.
Thank God for the internet, yeah.
But I always figure this, and I always like to tie my thoughts when they start to stray off into abnormal thinking for me, which, I never really think about, race or color when I'm in a room. I really just kind of think about my safety. I guess I'm a risk assessor, but, I don't really think about, who's there. I guess. If I see someone walking with a gun, I don't give a shit what color they are. I'm scared, and I think about that kind of shit. And if something were to happen and I were in a group of people, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hop on the biggest motherfucking black person I can find and have him hop me, like piggyback my way out of that whole fucking massacre as fast as he fucking can. And he'd probably be pretty happy to do it, because let's be fair. I mean, I'm a blonde white girl. He's not going to say no.
No. He won't.
He might have a copy of my book. In that case, he's not going to say no. Right, Brady?
Brady.
I don't even know. What the fuck are you even talking about?
Yeah. Or Hispanic. Whoever. I don't give a shit. I just, whoever's the tall. It might be a girl. Up in these parts, the females are usually the taller ones. If I had to ride a Scandinavian, while pulling her hair out of here, I'll do that too.
Is there the same female deficiency in Dakotas that there is in, like, Montana?
Yeah, only because of the oil field, though. Oil field has brought a huge skew in the male to female ratio. So, like, put it out in this way. In Williston, North Dakota, there are men raping men. And the only reason, and you're not talking about the gay population. In fact, you can totally take them out of that. You're actually talking about the hillbilly population. From the entire, to where there are literally no women, and the ratio is so skewed because of the oil field that you have men raping men, because you're talking, 12-1 out in the oil fields?
I don't know.
12 men to every one female? And
you
so...
can't call them hillbillies. They're roughnecks.
They're not gay, but they're raping each other because there's no one else to have sex with, apparently. And the police force is spread so thin that they ignore a lot of the problems out in the oil fields too, because what are they going to do?
So much ignorance.
When you have 25 men on one or two guys and something like that is happening, you have two police officers show up. That's not a battle that I think anybody wants to take on, so a lot of it gets ignored, and that's very sad, but you got to think about the police officers' lives that matter too. And you got to think about the rapees' lives. But I mean, it's gotten so bad out here, and the politics surrounding that are fucking horrible. Fucking horrible. Could you imagine being a guy and you just get into Williston, North Dakota, which isn't near us, it's a couple hours away, but imagine being a guy and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna go work for Halliburton, I'm gonna make all this money, and you're like, you get into town, you're like, I'm gonna go have a drink at Applebee's, and just you go outside and you're talking on the phone to your mom or your loved ones, and that happens, and that is literally the way it goes.
What happened?
Where they get gang raped by guys in the man camps and things like that. That is something that does happen.
That sounds serious.
Yeah. Well, I don't even like driving through there on my way home. And apparently if I do, I cut off an hour.
Keep your dick in your pants, Brady.
Yeah, Brady, quit raping everyone in Williston.
I am not going to respond to that. I only respond to intelligent statements, Liz.
These things are recorded and could be held up in court, so he's not a big responder. But there's a lot going on. Traveling, it's fun being in North Dakota, but it's fun traveling too, and it's fun talking to people, and it's fun seeing everything that's going on. But the media. Oh, the media. What are we gonna do about the media? Can't ignore them.
I thought you moved, by the way.
So I did. I did move.
Oh, you did? Oh, I thought you... So you're not back in Dakotas?
No. I got shit to do, though. I have things to do, JP.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm everywhere. I was just in Vegas, too. I was in Vegas, and I
saw that. Yeah. How'd that go? Did you win any money?
I did.
Whoa.
Yeah, I always do. I don't know what it is down there, but I always do. I stuck in $2, and it kicked out 40. So then I stuck, and this is all slot machines, and I stuck in $10 and it kicked out another 80. And I mean that's the way I roll down there. Good. And then I found out And I don't know how I didn't know this before, and maybe I did, but the Las Vegas airport, you can carry your drink around with you in the airport. You don't have to stay in the bar or the restaurant.
Yeah, everything's good there.
Yeah.
Everything's good.
So I'm sitting there at the podium waiting for my flight, which is like 5 minutes delayed, like leaning over with my glass of wine, just going, please, God, let me on this plane. And they did. I don't know why they did, but they did. Because, honestly, I wouldn't have let me on the plane.
From Vegas to California, or where did you go from Vegas?
Vegas and back into Minot on that one. I was in California and Montana.
Oh.
And Nevada. Well, I guess Las Vegas is Nevada, but other parts of Nevada as well. And then California. I was in California for a little bit. So, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Trying to find the house that I want. You know, when you do a bunch of remodeling to your house and you learn how to do all this stuff, all of a sudden everything looks appealing no matter what it is. And you're like, okay, I could go spend $500,000, $600,000 on a home and not have to do anything to it except for change paint colors if I want to. Or I can spend $150,000 on something that's unlivable and take 6 months to remodel the whole thing into something that... And Brady's just shaking his head at me right now.
Not doing it again. Once is enough. We did learn a lot. If we do any remodeling, we're doing one room at a time. None of this 6-room bullshit.
Yeah, there was a point in this house, and it's almost completely done. But there was a point where we were living in our living room because it was the only room that had electricity.
Right.
After the remodel started, and the contractor started cutting through wires.
Fucking idiots.
And it was knob and tube wiring, so it wasn't exactly easy to put back together.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, and we were all living in the living room for a minute, and I mean, this house is huge, so you can imagine how irritated everyone was kind of camping there.
I got a phone call, so I'm gonna go on hold if you don't mind.
No, actually, hold on. I gotta get one in your G on. He tried calling in, but we'll get you back on the line in a little bit.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
I think if a woman was gonna run for, I think Judge Judy.
Fuck you, Judge. She's such a bitch.
She doesn't take shit from no one, and that's exactly right.
I think if anyone's gonna run for president as a female, you know what? Why not give... Oh, Jesus. The dogs are alerting us that someone is here. I think if anyone's going to run for president as a female, I would give it to Jennifer Lopez. Those Latinos don't take fucking shit for shit.
Holy hell.
Right?
J-Lo? For real?
Right? That ass, though.
For president?
Yeah, why not?
Why?
Because she seems nice and saucy.
Saucy?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's kind of a firecracker, I feel like.
Right. Well, I have a different definition of the word saucy, and I think Wayne put it best.
Who?
Wayne from Wayne's World.
And keep going.
And your saucy is way different than mine.
Buckley's right. Felicia said she went to bed. Felicia also has a cold she was talking about battling the other day. I think the gay pride parade is about to show up here on the show. Besides maybe a girl. I don't really know. Anyway, yeah, no, Hillary Clinton is so full of fucking shit. And they both are, but hers is... Because I remember Hillary Clinton from, like, the Bill Clinton era. It's easier for me to totally fucking rag on Hillary Clinton because I was old enough, unfortunately, to remember all that. This shit that went on with her husband. She talks about women's rights. However, she did survive a marriage somehow with her husband cheating on her publicly. He almost got impeached for it. Well, actually, that's not true. He was impeached for it. He just, he went through the impeachment proceedings, I should say. He decided to attempt to impeach him. So what woman in their right mind, let's throw this into perspective. If Brady went out and fucked Jennifer Aniston.
Okay.
I'm like, well...
Listening.
Jennifer Aniston is famous. Can't really blame